Magnus on your screen along with Pragg drinking liquid death. We have Karo Khan on the board. E4, C6 by Magnus, D4, D5, E5, Bishop F5, H4, H5. Pragg trades the bishops and E6 played. Knight F3, and this is the position on the board.
Carlsen also listening to your idea of bringing the queen to A6, a very common one, but we might see it.
Yeah, exactly. Carlsen does go. Oh, but Carlsen first puts his knight on H6 because he was, first only told by Harshit ki bhai, if you go to queen A6, I'm not going to trade. I'm going to play C4 here. And I think some theory goes like bishop B4, B3 stuff, and so on. Yeah.
And here we see Sagar bhai, very interesting moves.
Knight H6, castles, Knight F5, and Pragg goes knight to B3, hitting the queen. And Magnus says, "Bhai, do you want to exchange? Because if you take, I'm okay with spoiling my structure as long as queens are taken off the board." Pragg says, "Sorry, Magnus, I'm not trading. I'm going queen D1." Exactly. And now A4 could be an idea. So Magnus instantly hits in the center. Very interesting move, because after take, bishop takes, you are giving up your bishop for a knight. Oh, he goes A4.
He goes A4, Sagar bhai, taking this tempo, and now you see the bar shifting in, and knight C5, queen C5, B3. He goes for C3. I was even C3 looks very natural now.
You were tempted for B3, putting the bishop here. Arey, kya hi move tha ye? Knight C6 played on the board.
Here.
Yeah, I think rook E1 definitely a possibility. Played. Defending E5 was tempting. By the way, Harshit, he goes rook D8, and I have my doubts about this move, because one move that just cries out to be played here with a tempo is bishop to G5, and hitting the rook. Why would Magnus want to put his rook on D8? Is he planning to push D4 at some point? Yeah, bishop G5 on the board.
Yeah, very tempting.
Rook C1 played, and now the idea is to go B4.
B4, he plays it, yeah. Carlsen is still thinking.
And a difference of 6 minutes already.
Sagar bhai, 6 minutes against almost more than double the time here with Praggnanandhaa, and also a very good position. He made the move D4.
Bhai. Magnus Carlsen going D4. But now, of course, Pragg, look at that guy. He's out for a kill, swinging in his chair. He can push B4. Why not? Oh, B4 on the board. B4,
oh,
Pragg plays it.
Queen B6 quickly played.
Comfort. Oh, he goes B5 anyway.
Yeah.
And now Magnus must take on C3, which he will. Otherwise, नहीं तो क्या होगा? ये खेलेंगे, ये यहाँ से rook is getting in finish.
Finito.
This is finito here.
DC3 played.
Yeah, amazing. B5 played. Oh, DC3.
Look at this, guys. Praggnanandhaa playing against Magnus Carlsen and putting him under big pressure. Queen to B3, knight A5 might be played here. Looks very normal, but white has a very nice spatial advantage, Sagar bhai.
He goes knight CE7. But now I think Magnus is happy with what has happened, right? Because after this long thought, he wanted this thing to happen. Let's say, for example, rook C3. Magnus just castles now. And he's got his knights well positioned. The other knight is coming to D5. And Pragg has to come up with something, or else the position might become dangerous for him.
Rook C3 played. Very natural. Castle. But Sagar bhai, time is getting very, very, very crucial now.
Yeah.
We goes queen to C2. Yeah. Maybe with similar ideas ki knight D5 ke baad rook C8 aa raha hai.
Yeah, I think you mean here, yes?
Yeah.
But this time, there is a very tricky move that Magnus has up his sleeve, and he can play rook C7 here. If he takes here, rook D7.
He played it knight D5, Sagar bhai, and rook C4 played.
Yes, but okay, I mean, rook D1 was not winning as such. It was just an interesting move.
Interesting move. Rook C4 also keeping the balance. pretty much.
By the way, rook c7 played. Magnus showing his class, making the best moves, and in fact, from a difficult opening, has now reached an equal position.
C7
Rook
played.
c7 played, yeah.
And knight to d2, bringing that knight into action is Praggnanandhaa, क्योंकि rook c4 maybe usko knight goes rook c8. And now
I think Pragg's
suddenly
knight d2 move was very doubtful, very dubious. With rook c8, you can see Magnus getting more and more confident here.
he's getting very comfy now. Maybe he wanted something like queen d1 and attack this h5 pawn.
Oof.
He does it.
Bishop is defending the knight. He takes it
Just
and queen
grabs the
takes
pawn.
a4.
Fighting this
Knight
match.
e4. 3 pieces generally
Four.
constitute a big attack, yes, in chess.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 pieces close to the king. Now maybe knight f6 somewhere. You can even bring your bishop back and get knight g.
Just takes the pawn as well.
Magnus has nerves of steel here. Just picking up 2 queenside pawns, saying, "Bhai, मैं तो push कर रहा हूँ, मेरा king संभाल लेगा. My king will take care of itself."
An intermediate queen b4 here, Sagar bhai.
Oof, yes, attacking
And
this and
attacking
this.
the knight and the rook, that might be very, very strong here. He
Also,
goes rook to
Harshit
d1,
bhai, going here and then this would hang.
attacking.
Oh,
But then f7 is falling.
Arey,
But
F7,
Sagar bhai,
हाँ.
rook to d1 was played.
So he played rook d1. Goes rook d7. And Pragg
Now
maybe
rook c1 or something, some trick, Sagar bhai, rook something.
rook c1 getting it, or maybe king h2, just moving your king away on the side. g4, h5, h6 is a move that is calling out to be played. Yes, he plays queen g4. Good move by Pragg. And now
Sagar bhai,
Magnus.
look at Magnus. He's tensed and the clock is ticking. Sagar bhai, we have found the best game.
Yeah.
In this
King f8,
event
he's
for
running.
Power.
He's running.
King F8.
भाग रहा है king.
भागने मत दो सागर भाई. h5 h6 ढकलो.
Do you think queen h5, king g8, queen g4,
yeah.
we will notice a sort of repetition?
That is a perpetual. That's true.
Yeah, I don't think Pragg is interested in draws. Oh, queen h5 on the board. King g8. आजाओ वापस. Pragg is like, क्या करे? Draw करना है, नहीं करना है. But I think if he plays queen g4 one more time, we will be able to sort of identify Magnus's intentions then.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to draw. So I think Pragg should play queen g4 as a psychological idea here, as a psychological ploy.
Queen g4 played.
Queen g4. And now Magnus. I don't think Magnus will go king f8. Matter of principle. Matter of principle. You can't just take a draw here against Pragg. You want to win. And you can see Magnus there. On one hand, he wants to win. On the other hand, clock is ticking down to 30 seconds. He needs to decide.
He does need to decide, Sagar bhai. After king f6.
Knight b6.
Oh my God.
Knight f6 by Harshit. This is getting so intense. Bishop f6. And that's a mistake.
What is that?
Because rook d1, queen d1, and now knight d7. Very important.
Yeah, I don't like that bishop f6 move, Sagar bhai.
Yeah,
at all.
There was no threat. There's no threat now, basically.
No threat, because the knight was also protecting the g7 square.
Yeah.
Oh, Sagar bhai, what a dramatic shift of events.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden it's all gone down because the bishop is hanging, then the e5 pawn will hang.
Yeah. And Sagar bhai, Magnus never leaves an opportunity.
Queen f4 played here.
Yeah.
Queen c6, queen f4. Magnus has 25 seconds, takes the bishop, piece up. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work out now, because this knight is such a monster here, defending all mates.
Protecting everything, yeah.
Check. Queen g4 played. Rakshit asks, bishop f6 would have worked if king on h2, right? But you know, Rakshit, even with king on h2, there was no mate on g7 because the knight always protects that square. So it's not really, I think it was not a great idea for Pragg, this bishop f6 and everything related to it. But yeah, when did Pragg have chances, Sagar? I think knight f6 check over there instead of bishop f6 was the key moment where Pragg could have at least gotten a draw here. Instead of putting his bishop here, If he had gone check, now the rook is hanging, so you must take. And now a very tough move to find, as Harshit mentioned here. Bishop f6 looks most natural, but after king h7, it's a draw. It's a win for black. There's no mate. Even if you go for a check, I can just block with my knight. But the move that was actually at least drawing here, it was bd2, because king f8, there is bishop b4 check and white wins. So therefore the king has to go on the h file, and then a check,
Very hard.
check, check, and it's a, yeah, you can't even do this because then ef6 is a mate.
Yeah.
Pragg's position, I don't see this, but thoda chance hai kya 3 pawn on the king side?
चांस तो सागर भाई हमेशा चांस तो लेना चाहिए लाइफ में.
Let's wait for a bit. Who knows? देखते हैं, सबर करते हैं.
But tough. But yeah, some chance. But against Magnus, it's very tough.
Yeah. Takes. Okay, he just took on a5 and
Something like knight f4, queen e4. So that now you can never take the pawn on b7 because knight e3 fork will be there.
yeah.
Beautiful play by Magnus, as always. Sagar bhai.
Yeah, when Magnus sort of converts such positions, you feel like he's in cruise mode. You know, he's driving maybe some Lamborghini or a Mercedes, while when we try to convert it, it feels like maybe
Nano.
some Nano or a car which has really no. Okay, Queen C7 check.
But
King
queen
comes up.
h1 and queen e1 are mating threats.
Yeah,
So
huge threat here. So I think we can expect Pragg to resign here.
yeah.
And this is going to be 1-0 up for Magnus Carlsen.